Hello, and welcome to Cooking with Todd. This is Todd. For today's video, I've decided to do vegetable soup. For this recipe, you're going to need 1 pound of carne picada, 1 pound of ground beef. You're going to need a 64-ounce bottle of vegetable juice. You're going to need 1½ large onions and 2 bell peppers, chopped. You're going to need 12 ounces of fresh carrot. You're also going to need 10½ to 12 ounces of fresh carrot. You're going to need 1 pound of Idaho or russet potatoes. That is also chopped. You are going to need 1 serrano pepper. You're going to need a high temp oil such as avocado, which that is avocado. You're going to need 2 cans of fire roasted diced tomatoes. You're going to need a little bit of saffron. You do not need to use that as that is quite expensive. You're also going to need sea salt. You're going to need black pepper. You're also going to need some lemon pepper. You're going to need oregano, thyme, rosemary, and you're also going to need basil. To get started, you're going to want to go ahead and fry up your ground beef. And once this is halfway done, you're going to want to go ahead and add in your carne picada. I will go ahead and get the angle switched over to the stove and go ahead and get started. Okay, I got the camera angle and my board out of the way and cleaned off. There is 2 other ingredients I did forget to mention. You are going to need some apple cider vinegar, or you can just use regular white vinegar, white wine, or red wine. And you're going to need some tomato paste. So you're going to want to go ahead and start by adding in your high temp oil right into the pot. I'm going to say about 4 tablespoons. And you're going to want to go ahead and raise your heat to about a medium. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this just to the smoke point, and then at that time I will go ahead and add in the ground beef, since this is going to cool it down quite a bit. Okay, so I'm happy with this at this point. It's not quite to the smoke point like I wanted, but that is fine. I'm going to go ahead and just start breaking in my ground beef. And I'm going to go ahead and rinse my hands off right quick. Okay, so now you're going to want to go ahead and just cook this until it's almost done. And I'm going to go ahead and raise the heat up to about a medium-high for a couple of minutes. Okay, so now at this time, I'm going to go ahead and add in some lemon pepper. This is a new one, so I have to open it. And you're going to want about a tablespoon of this. That right there is good. And you're going to want to go ahead and add about half a teaspoon of black pepper. And you're also going to want to add about 1 teaspoon of salt. That's about a tablespoon, which is too much. Just throw that off in the sink. And you're going to want to go ahead and give this a good mix. And break up more of the ground beef. Okay, that's about good right now. I'm going to go ahead and start opening up the carne picada and dumping that in. Also at this time, I'm going to go ahead and add in my oregano. About 1 teaspoon for now. About 1 teaspoon of basil. You're also going to need about half a teaspoon of rosemary. Okay, so about that much. And you're going to want to just go ahead and rub this in between your hands to crush it up a little bit, like so. And you're also going to want to go ahead and add in your thyme. And about half teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of thyme. And you're going to want to go ahead and break this carne picada up and mix in the herbs. And you're going to want to go ahead and let this cook here for a little bit until it's done. And then once it gets done, you're going to want to go ahead and add a little more of your oil. Okay, so this is cooked up enough right now, and I'm happy with how it is turned out. I went ahead and got the ground beef up into smaller pieces now, and it's almost to the point where the moisture has evaporated and it is starting to fry in its own fat. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and add in some more avocado oil. About another 3 tablespoons. And I'm going to go ahead and add in my bell peppers and onions. And I'm going to go ahead and just give this a good mix to coat everything in oil. And try and break up some of these onions. Now I normally don't put bell peppers in my recipe for vegetable soup, but I had 2 bell peppers that were going bad, so I decided to go ahead and salvage what I could from them and put them in here. And you're going to want to go ahead and let this cook for about 5 minutes. And you're going to want to go ahead and keep your heat at about, I'm going to say about an 8 or a 9. Almost high, but not quite. About 2 marks away from being high. And you're going to want to go ahead and continue to cook this. And I will go ahead and bring you back once that part is done. Okay, so I'm happy with this at this point. Now what I went ahead and did is I made a well in the center of all of this, and that is where I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and that's going to remain in there for a little bit and kind of fry in the oil for about 1 minute. Okay, so right about now is when I'm going to go ahead and just mix everything up together. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and add in the apple cider vinegar. About 4 tablespoons of it. And go ahead and give that a good mix. And let some of that evaporate. And at this time, your heat still should be at about an 8 or a 9 on your dial. So about pretty much a high heat. Also around this time is when you're going to want to go ahead and start getting your garlic prepared. Okay, so this has been boiling here for about 2 minutes while I was getting my garlic ready. And now you're going to want to go ahead and just crush your garlic in. You could alternatively just use a knife and do it by hand, but this is so much faster. And you're going to want to go ahead and just trim this off. And go ahead and give this another good mix. And let this fry for about 30 seconds. Okay, so I am happy with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in the vegetable juice. And you're also going to want to go ahead and add in your carrots and celery. And your green beans. And you're going to want to go ahead and mix this up. And you're also going to want to go ahead and add in your potatoes. Since I already had everything prepared before the video started, I'm going to have to strain these right quick. Okay, so those are strained and now also at this time you're going to want to add in your serrano pepper. I'm not going to add all of this to start. I am just going to add about half of it. And I will adjust it for heat at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a stir. Now I'm going to go ahead and rinse out the vegetable juice container. And you're going to want to do about half of it, so 32 ounces. And shake it up and go ahead and add this back in. This will thicken up a little bit as it cooks. And go ahead and just give this another good mix. And now what you're going to want to do is go ahead and just raise your heat to a full-blown high. And you're going to want to let this come up to a boil. And then once it comes up to a boil, you're going to want to go ahead and reduce your heat to a medium. And you're going to want to let this simmer for about 1 hour. I will go ahead and bring you back when I adjust for seasonings at the very end. Okay, so this is almost done now. It's been going for about 25 minutes on a simmer like this. I'm going to go ahead and add in the fire roasted tomatoes. And you're going to add this, and this is going to cool your pot off a little bit. So you're going to want to go ahead and raise your heat just a little bit. And I had a little bit of spillage there, so I will clean that up. And I'm going to go ahead and just give this a mix to incorporate those. At this time, the carrots are not quite done, but everything else is. So I'm going to go ahead and just let this go for 10 more minutes, and that will go ahead and heat up the tomatoes. Also, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and taste it for salt. And it does need quite a bit of salt still. Okay, so I'm going to add probably about a tablespoon of salt. And I'm going to go ahead and just give this another good mix to incorporate. And I'm going to go ahead and give this another taste. And that right about there is perfect for me. So there is not quite enough spice in this, so I'm going to go ahead and just add the rest of this serrano. And if this does not give it enough spice, I will add just a little bit of crushed red peppers. Right here, I have about 50 threads of saffron, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that in there. Now, you do not have to add the saffron, as it is quite expensive. It's like $15, I think, for about, I think 2 grams, which is like 7/10 of an ounce, which is kind of expensive. Now that I have everything in here, I'm going to go ahead and let this go for about 1 minute. And I'm going to taste it after it's had time to come back up to temp. And at this point, I do believe it is pretty much done. At this point, all I'm doing is just tasting for salt and other things. So you can go ahead and just serve it at this point. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this video up. It is ready to serve pretty much at this time. So, as always, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to click that bell so you'll be notified when I release another video. And as always, thank you for watching, and I hope you continue to enjoy me on this journey of mine.